Hare Krishna, Namaste. Chapter 15 is entitled as Puruṣottamaḥ Vidya, Puruṣottamaḥ Yogam. Sloka 19, Part 9. Yo māmevam asammūdaḥ jānāti puruṣottamam sa sarvavid bhajati mam sarvabhavena Bharata. We saw that many different schools of thoughts has different ideas about who the creator is. Some say it is the Paramanus, some say it is Prakriti, and some say it is Brahma. But for the correct answer, we need to turn towards Shabda Pramanam, the Vedas, the Upanishad. Why we have to accept the Vedas as Pramana? We already went through that in the same chapter when we did 15th Sloka. So please recollect what we studied over there. The answer to the question, who created this universe, who is the cause of creation of this universe, is very well and clearly answered in the Upanishads. It is explained in 4 different levels, stages. Let's see one at a time. In Chandogya Upanishad, it says, Sadeva Saumya idam agra atīto ekameva advatiyam. That is, Sat is the only one which exists in the beginning. There is no second one other than that. That Sat, the existing entity, is the cause of creation. For this universe to be created, the cause is by the one which exists. There must be something which exists so the things can be created. Why it is said like this is because, as per Nyaya Shastra, a thing comes from its non-existence. They do not agree that creation happens from an existing entity. For example, a pot got created. That means the pot was never existing before it got created, which implies pot comes from non-existence. This type of understanding is called asatkaryavada. Sat means existence, asat means non-existence. But as per Vedanta, it is not asatkaryavada, it is satkaryavada. Things cannot come from nowhere, it has to come from an existing element. That is, things comes into existence from something, it takes different forms from its previous stage. So a form keeps changing from one to another. Therefore, it is not from non-existence, it is from existence with changes. Therefore, as per the Vedanta, it is Satkaryavada. The universe come into existence from an existing entity, not from non-existing to an existing state. Let's see one more example. As per Nyaya Shastra, 2 pieces, 2 halves, when it combined together, it becomes a pot. That means the pot was not existing before. Therefore, pot comes from non-existence, which is called abhava. But as per Vedanta, the clay that was present before in a different form, like a lump, now changes into the shape of the pot. That's all. When the same pot is broken by a stick, it changes into a pieces. The pieces can be made into powder and then made into bricks. So it is an existing entity which changes from one form to another form. So the very first thing that we should be clear is the creation happens from an existing entity called Sat. Creation does not happen by Asat, non-existing entity. Before creation happens, that stage is called Pralaya, dissolution. There will be no differences that we can see now in this universe. We see many planets, sun, moon, stars, building, land, ocean. But during Pralaya, we will not see any of these things. It will be in an unmanifested state. We cannot differentiate that this is water, this is earth, this is fire. For example, say in the morning I see a child as a play-doh. Later, after a couple of hours, I come to see the child and I see the play-doh is no more there. Rather, I see a house which is made of play-doh, mountain which is made of play-doh, an animal made of play-doh. From that I understand that they are all made of play-doh. Before the house, mountain, animal were made, it was just a play-doh with no variation, no differences. And Pralaya is of that state. And during creation, different things come into existence. Therefore, the conclusion here is that the cause of creation is not abhava, non-existence, it is Sat, from an existing entity, which is the cause of the creation. This is the first understanding we need to have. But here, there is no mention whether that Sat, the existing entity, is big or small. Is it with consciousness or without consciousness? That is not mentioned in this statement of the Upanishad. Now let's look into Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. Over there, it is said, Brahmava idam agra asit ekameva. Over here, it states, Brahman, the huge, immeasurable, boundless entity, is the cause for the universe. In the previous Upanishad, we learned that the existing entity is the cause of creation. But we didn't know whether that existing entity is small or big. That is clarified here in this statement where it says Brahman is the cause of the creation. It is Brahman, once again, it is not Brahma. Brahma is four-headed Devata. Brahman is the absolute truth. Now we have to combine both these statements, the previous and this one. From the previous statement, we understood it's existing, and from this statement, we understand that existing entity is huge, it's big, it's boundless, which is the cause of the universe. Now, that still doesn't completely answer the question. We understand it is existing entity. We understand that existing entity is huge, but is that huge existing entity a Chetana or Achetana? Is it a sentient or non-sentient being? That is being addressed in another Upanishad called Aitreya Upanishad. Over there it is said, Atmava idam eka eva agra asit. Now this Upanishad says that the cause of creation is Atma. When it says Atma, then it implies that it is a sentient entity, meaning a conscious being. It says before the creation of the universe, what was existing is Atma. Now we have progressed further. We got more information from the Upanishad. First we know that is an existing element. The second, that existing entity is huge in size, and that existing huge entity is a Atma. From this we can understand it is not a non-existing entity from where the creation happens. It is an existing entity, and that existing entity is not minute, not small, not anu. It is vibhu, it is huge, boundless, and that boundless entity is not a non-living entity. It is a living entity, meaning it is a chetana, which means it has intelligence, consciousness, awareness, knowledge, which are all same thing with different terms. Now, one last question, open question is, who is that Atma? Because there are many Atmas are there. We understand so far it is the Atma who is the cause of creation, but not sure which Atma. There are unlimited Atmas. So how do we know which Atma is the cause of the creation? For that, we refer to another Upanishad called Mahopanishad. It says, Eko havai Narayana atīto. Sriman Narayana was the one, was the only one who was present at the beginning, and he created the universe. When we say beginning, it is the Pralaya period, before the creation. And the Upanishad also says, Narayana Parabrahma Tattvam Narayana Paraha. Narayana Paro Jyotir Atma Narayana Paraha. Narayana is the Supreme Brahman. Narayana is the Supreme Reality. Narayana is the Supreme Light. Narayana is the Supreme Self. So we have seen from 4 Upanishads. The first Upanishad said, Sadeva Saumya Idam Agra Asit Ekameva Advatiyam, that the cause of creation is Sat, an existing entity. And the second Upanishad said, Brahmava Idam Agra Asit Ekameva, Brahman is the cause of creation. And the third Upanishad said, Atmava Idam Eka Eva Agra Asit, Atma is the cause of creation. And the last Upanishad said, Eko havai Narayana asit. Narayana is the cause of creation. Say someone studies one of these Upanishads, he may conclude the creator to that particular statement. Therefore, it is important that one properly analyze and study the scripture to come to a proper conclusion. If one does not have time to study, then one must hear from those who have studied. Hearing these 4 different statements, one may think it's all contradicting, because one says it is an existing entity, another says it is Brahman, another one says it is Atma, another one says it is Narayana. It is not contradicting, and it is not that we have 4 answers for the cause of creation. Or we may think that Upanishad itself contradicting between themselves, as they all speak differently. But the truth is, they are not speaking anything different. They are all speaking the same. First we learn that it is an existing entity, Sat. From that, what we understood is the creation happens from an existing entity, not from a non-existing entity. But we did not know whether that entity is big or small, if it is an sentient being or non-sentient being. So from the second statement that we saw, we learned that it is an existing entity. It is not small, it is big, Brahman. But still we didn't know whether it is a Chetana or Achetana, sentient or non-sentient entity. So the third Upanishad clarified that doubt, saying it is Atma. When it says Atma, that means that existing entity which is big in size has consciousness, which means it is a Chetana. It is not Achetana. And that Chetana, that Atma, is Narayana. This is known as Samanya Vishesha Nyaya. Let's understand this with an example. Say I tell someone, go bring that person over here. And this person whom I spoke to goes to the group and try to pull a person from that group because it has 10-20 people over there. At that time, I say a second statement, bring Narayana over here. Then a second statement I said supported the first statement, and that clarifies the doubt, uncertainty. Whether I wanted Ravi, I wanted Gopal, I wanted Ashok, or I wanted Narayana. So when I said bring that person over here, it was a general term I used as person. That's called Samanya. When I use a second statement with a specification who that person is, then that is Vishesha. In the second statement I said bring Narayana over here, as opposed to what I said bring that person over here. When I said bring that person over here, in my mind I was thinking about Narayana, not about Gopal. Likewise, when the Upanishad said Sat the first time, it is the same Brahman. And when the Upanishad said Brahman, it is the same Atma. And when the Upanishad said Atma, it is Narayana. Those Sat, Brahman, Atma refers to Narayana. And this is known as Samanya Vishesha Nyaya. Samanya here is a general term, Sat, Brahman, Atma. Whereas the Vishesha term, that is a special term or a specific term, here is Narayana. Now let's link all together. The first statement is an existing entity is the cause of the creation. Second statement is that existing entity is Brahman, big. And the third statement says that existing entity which is Brahman is Atma. And the fourth statement says that existing entity which is Brahman is Atma, who is Narayana. This is how we have to get the meaning out of Upanishad. Upanishads are not that easy. It tells the truth, but in an hidden manner. That is why we need to study the scripture under proper parampara, proper authority. If we try to study on our own, it is not easy. We may make mistakes. So, it is not that Vedas said existing entity is the cause of the creation and it changed its mind and narrowed down to Brahman, and then again it changed its mind and said it is Atma, and again it changed its mind and said it is Narayana. Upanishad is Shastra. It is Shabda Pramana. It cannot make mistake. It doesn't change what it said, and it doesn't contradict with one another. With that, we understand who is the cause of creation. It is not Paramanus as per Bauta, Jaina, Vaisheshika and Nyaya. It is not Prakriti as per Sankhya philosophy. And it is not Brahma either, the cause of creation. It is Sriman Narayana, who is Sat, Brahman, Paramatma, who is the cause of the creation, which implies its existence and destruction as well. We don't need to research if Narayana is the cause of creation. Is there someone else who maintains after creation? And is there someone else who destroys the universe? It is all Narayana, who is a creator, maintainer and destroyer. Srishti, Sthiti, Pralaya. Everything happens by the Supreme Lord, Sri Krishna. With that, we have attempted to learn the unlimited Lord's Lakshana with our limited knowledge. He is faultless. He is single repository for all the auspicious qualities. He is supremely different from all vastus, objects. He is unlimited, is boundless. He is of the form Jnana and Ananda, and he is Jagat Janmadi Karana. Now, the last one that we saw, Jagat Karana, opens up a lot of questions. He is a creator, meaning Nimitta Karana. Nimitta Karana means instrumental cause. For example, for a clay to change into a pot, there must be a Nimitta Karana, a need for one who is sentient being, one who has knowledge, intelligence. He is known as Nimitta Karana, instrumental cause. So the Lord is the instrumental cause, Nimitta Karana, for the creation of the universe. He is Narayana, Krishna, Paramatma, Bhagavan, Brahman. It's all one and the same. This we have learnt so far. If he is Nimitta Karana, then there are a number of questions that comes. Does he create it? How does he create it? Why he created it? Did he create with great effort? Or was it easy for him to create? What does he gain by creating the universe? By creating this universe, will he get any sins, dosha, faults? These are some of the questions that may rise in our mind, which will be answered in the next session. Namaste, Hare Krishna.